The Legend of Jigong, Chapter 110.
We're looking at the Yamen of Quazhou Prefecture. And for you listening, a Yamen isn't just like a local police station.
Right. It's way more than that.
It's a fortified government office, a courthouse, a tax collection center, and a military barracks all rolled into one sprawling complex.
So it's basically the Pentagon, the Supreme Court, and the IRS combined.
That is a perfect way to put it. And the man presiding over this complex, Prefect Zhang Yud, is essentially a regional governor and supreme judge.
Okay.
So we're entering this world defined by strict social hierarchies, where the law is enforced by swift, brutal physical punishments.
Yeah.
A murder on the Yamen property isn't just a homicide. It's a profound desecration of the state's authority. I mean, it's literally hung right over the prefect's head in the place where he is supposed to be politically and physically untouchable.
So, all right, let's unpack this. You find a severed head on your roof. You are Prefect Zhang Yud. What is your very first, mechanical, strategic move here?
Well, what would you do?
Honestly, if I step into his shoes, my instinct is total containment. I lock down the compound, I mobilize every investigator I have, and I personally direct the forensic analysis of the scene.
That makes total sense to us today.
Right, because if the state's authority is challenged on my literal doorstep, I need to be the one visibly crushing that challenge,
Yeah, that instinct makes perfect sense in a modern democratic context where leaders are expected to take visible ownership of crises.
Exactly, you get in front of the cameras.
Right. But in the administrative structure of the ancient Chinese bureaucracy, taking personal ownership of an unsolved mystery is a form of career suicide.
Wait, really? How so?
Prefect Zhang Yud's reaction is actually a masterclass in bureaucratic self-preservation.
Okay, I'm listening.
So he is visibly furious because obviously a head on his roof makes him look incredibly weak to his constituents. But rather than investigating it himself, he immediately summons his direct subordinate.
The middle manager.
Exactly. Magistrate Zhang. The magistrate is the head of the local Anxi County, which falls under the prefect's broader jurisdiction.
Okay.
Zhang points to the head and it essentially issues a decree. He says, find out who this belongs to, find the killer, and locate the rest of the body.
And then what?
And then he physically and administratively removes himself from the equation entirely.
I mean, I have to challenge the logic of that survival strategy. Passing the buck down to a middle manager seems like a massive, uncalculated risk to me.
How do you mean?
Well, if Magistrate Zhang fails to solve this, which seems highly likely given they have zero evidence and no body, the severed head was still found on the prefect's roof.
True.
The emperor or the provincial governor isn't going to care that the lower-level magistrate failed. They're going to look at the prefect and say, you let someone turn your headquarters into a slaughterhouse. How does this buffer of blame actually protect him?
It really comes down to the mechanics of the imperial evaluation system.
Okay, lay it on me.
In this hierarchy, officials were subjected to rigorous periodic reviews. If a crime occurs and the prefect takes direct control of the investigation and fails, the failure is recorded permanently on his administrative record as incompetence.
Ah, I see. So he becomes the bottleneck.
Exactly. He owns the failure. However, the system technically delineates street-level crime solving as the duty of the county magistrate.
So it's technically not his job anyway.
Right. By formally delegating the case downward, Prefect Zhang shifts the procedural liability.
That is so deeply cynical.
Oh, it's incredibly cynical. If the case goes cold, Zhang can report to his superiors that he properly deployed his resources and that it was the magistrate who failed in his sworn duties.
Wow. So it turns a fatal political blow into just a managerial reprimand.
Precisely. He isn't escaping the scandal entirely, but he's ensuring that when the axe falls, Magistrate Zhang's neck is on the chopping block, not his.
It is a game of high-stakes hot potato. But the potato is a live explosive, and the lowest person in the chain of command is the only one not legally allowed to drop it.
That's a great analogy.
And we see that ripple effect immediately, right? Magistrate Zhang realizes he is holding this explosive, and he does exactly what his boss just did.
Yes, he rolls it right downhill.
He calls in his lowest-level enforcers, these fast-paced runners, guys named Lu Chuntai and the Li Kongfu.
Right, the runners. And we need to understand who these guys are. They're the ancient equivalent of beat cops or maybe bounty hunters.
So they aren't the educated elite.
Not at all. They aren't esteemed scholars who pass the civil service exams like the prefect or the magistrate. They are rough, working-class men who do the physical, often violent legwork of the Yamen.
The muscle.
Exactly. Magistrate Zhang hands them this case, but he doesn't just ask them to investigate. He gives them an impossible mandate with a strict deadline.
Right. They must find the killer and the headless body, and they must do it immediately.
with literally no leads.
And the mechanism used to motivate these runners is fascinating because it is so extreme. We have the classic carrot and the stick, but the disparity between the two is staggering.
It really is.
The carrot is a reward of 50 taels of silver. To understand the gravity of that, we need to contextualize what a tael of silver actually meant to a guy like Lu Chuntai. Like, what is that in real terms?
Okay, so a tael is a measure of weight, roughly an ounce of pure silver. In the economic reality of this era, the vast majority of peasants and laborers dealt entirely in copper coins.
Just loose change, basically.
Yeah. Silver was high-level currency. One tael could often buy a substantial amount of rice, enough to feed a family for a very long time.
Wow.
So 50 taels of silver is not just a nice holiday bonus, it is generational wealth for a commoner.
That's crazy.
It is the kind of money that allows a street-level runner to buy land, retire from the brutal world of law enforcement, and elevate his family's social class permanently. It represents absolute freedom.
But, and there's always a but, the stick attached to that carrot is equally absolute. Magistrate Zhang promises severe punishment if they fail.
And we know what that means.
Right. In the context of the Yamen, severe punishment isn't, a demotion or getting a bad performance review.
No, it's physical destruction.
Tell us about that.
When a magistrate promises severe punishment to a runner, he is threatening the heavy bamboo.
Ouch.
This involves being strapped down in the courtyard and beaten with thick wooden rods. Depending on the magistrate's fury, a beating of 30 to 50 strokes could easily cripple a man.
Or worse, right.
Oh, absolutely. It could cause internal organ failure or result in death from infection. Even if they survive, they might face exile to a penal colony.
So for you listening, consider the psychological pressure here. On one side of the scale, unimaginable wealth and total freedom. On the other side, physical agony and complete ruin.
It's an unbearable weight.
And to tip that scale, they have to solve a completely frictionless crime. There are no witnesses, no murder weapon, no motive, and they don't even know who the victim is.
It completely warps their investigative methodology.
Oh, for sure. They are no longer motivated by a desire to uncover the objective truth or administer justice. The psychological pressure forces them into a corner where they simply need a suspect.
Any suspect will do.
Any suspect to satisfy the bureaucracy and save their own skin. And when desperate detectives need to brainstorm a way out of an impossible situation, they do what cops always do. They retreat to the one place that offers solace.
They head to the local tavern.
Yes. The tavern is the universal information hub and sanctuary for stressed law enforcement across all of human history.
It's a great scene. Lu Chuntai, Li Kongfu, and their crew gather at a wine shop on the west side of the crossroads.
Just a classic dive bar.
Yeah, and the atmosphere is suffocatingly bleak. The narrative paints a vivid picture of a full-blown pity party. These men are sitting in the back room, openly discussing their impending physical doom.
Just crying in their beers.
Literally. They are drinking not to celebrate, but to numb the terror of what awaits them back at the Yamen when the deadline expires.
But right as they reach the absolute bottom of their despair, the narrative introduces this staggering, highly comedic coincidence.
The timing is perfect.
They are sitting there wallowing in misery, and they overhear a conversation happening right outside the tavern doors. Two men are literally arguing loudly about hanging a bundle on the 17th rafter from west to east.
It's almost too good to be true.
Right. The precision of the phrasing is what makes the local cops freeze. They haven't just heard someone mention a roof. They have heard the exact coordinate of the crime scene they were just threatened with death over.
From a policing perspective, they believe the universe has just handed them a miracle.
A total gift from the gods. So they rush to the door to see who just confessed to the crime of the century, and the visual they are met with is just pure absurdity.
It really is quite a lineup.
So there are three men. Two of them look like standard tough guys. They are wearing crescent white clothes with bone buttons, which suggests a martial arts background.
Right, practical, durable clothing meant for movement and combat.
But the third guy, and this is our introduction to the famous Jigong, and the text zeroes in on one specific, totally unhinged physical detail. He is wearing 4 different types of shoes at once.
The meticulous description of the footwear is arguably the most brilliant character introduction in the text.
Okay, I need to pause here because the geometry of this is actively breaking my brain.
It is a bit much to picture.
He has 2 feet, but he is wearing 4 shoes. The text specifies 1 open monk shoe, 1 Shandong black shoe, 1 kick a dead cow shoe, and 1 pointed slipper. Physically, how is he wearing them? Are they stacked inside each other or two tied to his belt?
The ambiguity of how he is wearing them is part of the chaotic aura he projects. The text doesn't exactly explain the physics of it.
It's so frustrating.
But what those shoes represent sociologically is far more important than the physical logistic.
Okay, break that down for us.
In ancient Chinese society, clothing was heavily regulated and deeply symbolic of your occupation, your region, and your social class.
So you dress your rank.
Exactly. By wearing these 4 specific shoes, Jigong is wearing a fragmented map of society.
Oh, I like that.
The open monk shoe represents ascetic religious life. The Shandong black shoe is typical regional peasant or traveler garb.
Okay, makes sense.
The pointed slipper is a luxury item, suggesting aristocratic wealth or indulgence. And the kick-a-dead cow shoe is a heavy reinforced work boot worn by laborers and butchers.
So he's basically wearing the entire social pyramid on his feet.
Precisely.
But when you hear about a guy walking around in 4 mismatched shoes, your modern brain probably jumps to, eccentric performance artist or someone suffering from a severe mental illness.
Sure.
But when Lu Chuntai, a highly paranoid 12th century cop, looks at this guy, what does that visual actually signal to him?
To a Yamen runner, a man who cannot be categorized is a man who cannot be trusted.
That's fascinating.
Jigong looks like a walking disguise kid.
Ah.
He is actively evading societal classification. To the desperate cops, this makes him highly suspicious. But more importantly, it makes him highly vulnerable.
Vulnerable how?
Well, he looks like a vagrant or a madman. He clearly doesn't possess the polished silk robes of an official, which means he doesn't have powerful political connections to protect him.
Ah, so he's disposable.
Exactly. To Lu Chuntai, this weird monk and his tough-looking buddies are the absolute perfect scapegoats. They just admitted to hanging a bundle on the right rafter, and no one of consequence is going to care if they get thrown into the Yamen dungeon.
It is the perfect storm of desperation meeting opportunity. The cops need a fall guy to avoid the bamboo rods, and Jigong walks up practically demanding to be arrested.
It's incredibly convenient.
But if we step back, we know Jigong is the protagonist of this story. He didn't murder anyone and leave their head on a roof.
Right? Obviously not.
So why in the world were they outside a tavern shouting about the 17th rafter? The narrative rewinds here to show us the mechanics of how Jigong engineered this entire scenario, starting with this bizarre detour at a wealthy estate.
Yeah, the flashback takes us to a period shortly before they arrived in Guizhou Prefecture.
Okay, set the scene for us.
So Jigong and his 2 companions, the tough guys in the crescent white clothes, who we learn are named Chai Yuanlu and Du Zenying, were staying as guests at the estate of Squire Zhao.
Right.
Jigong had vanished for a while, and when he finally strolls back in, Squire Zhao asks where he went. Jigong's explanation is an incredible piece of physical comedy.
It's so funny.
He claims he went out to the fields to use the bathroom, and while squatting there, he saw a man walking past whose money pouch had a hole in it, slowly leaking copper coins.
Now, the normal human reaction is to alert the guy that he's dropping his money.
Obviously.
Instead, Jigong decides to just silently follow the man and harvest the loose change, like some kind of creepy coin goblin.
He claims he followed the guy for 8 miles, picking up coins and shoving them into the waist of his robes.
But the punchline here is that Jigong wasn't wearing a belt.
Right.
So every time he dropped a coin down his shirt, it bypassed his waist entirely and fell right back onto the dirt behind him. After hiking 8 miles, he reaches into his robes and realizes he hasn't collected a single coin.
It reads like a slapstick routine, right? A classic fool's errand that makes him look completely incompetent.
But knowing Jigong's reputation as a master strategist, I have to assume this isn't just a funny anecdote.
Oh, there are layers to it.
Is he intentionally playing the clown to lower the squire's defenses, or is this like a psychological test for his 2 companions? If his ultimate goal is hunting down a vicious criminal, forcing his partners to watch him chase his own tail for 8 miles seems like an intentional filter.
A filter.
Yeah, he is telling them, I do not care about money, and I do not care about your conventional expectations of efficiency. Only those who can tolerate his chaotic detachment are allowed to stay in his orbit.
That is a highly accurate read on the philosophy of crazy wisdom that Jigong embodies.
Crazy wisdom, I love that term.
Yeah, in Chan Buddhism, which heavily influences his character, the enlightened master often behaves in ways that seem insane to the uninitiated in order to break their reliance on rigid material logic.
So it's deliberate chaos.
Absolutely. The story about the missing belt perfectly establishes his complete lack of attachment to material wealth. And that detachment is immediately put to the test because as they prepare to leave, Squire Zhao generously gifts them 50 taels of silver for travel expenses.
50 taels, the exact same sum as the police reward.
Exactly.
That is a heavy physical block of wealth.
It's a massive amount of money to carry on the open road. But Jigong flat out refuses to touch it. He claims it is too heavy and burdens him.
Typical Jigong.
Right. So he orders his companion, Chai Yuanlu, to wrap the silver in a sturdy bundle and carry it instead. Now, Chai prides himself on being a capable, rugged man of action.
A tough guy.
Jigong decides to provoke him. He asks Chai, what kind of martial arts skills do you actually possess if we are going to be hunting down dangerous people?
He's totally poking the bear.
Chai takes the bait instantly and boasts that his specialty is the art of wall walking and roof flying.
Let's contextualize that for a second for the listener. In the Wuxia literary tradition, roof flying or Qinggong isn't just jumping high, right?
No, not at all.
It's a specialized martial art involving the control of one's internal energy, or K, to make the body incredibly light, allowing a person to scale vertical surfaces and leap across rooftops effortlessly. So Chai is claiming to be an elite physical operator.
Exactly. So Jigong tells him to prove it. Jigong points up to the sprawling roof and challenges Chai to take that heavy bundle containing their 50 taels of silver, launch himself up to the eaves, and hang it precisely on the 17th rafter from west to east.
And Chai, whose ego has just been stroked, doesn't even hesitate. He channels his energy, leaps up the wall, grabs the eaves with one hand, and securely ties the bundle to the designated rafter with the other.
It's a huge show-off moment.
Right, so he drops back down completely puffed up with pride and asks Jigong if his technique was satisfactory. And Jigong just nods and says, "Let's go."
He just leaves it there.
Yeah. Chai is utterly confused. He says, "Wait, aren't we going to take the bundle back down?" And Jigong turns on him and delivers this blistering rebuke. He says, "Don't be shameless. If we actually take Squire Zhao's silver, what kind of true friendship is that? Leave it there."
It is an incredible manipulation.
So ruthless.
He uses Chai's ego to get the bundle exactly where he wants it, and then weaponizes the concept of honor to prevent Chai from retrieving their only source of funding.
Poor Chai.
Chai is furious.
Yeah.
He is a practical man who understands that without money, they don't eat. He storms down the street, hungry and broke, which leads directly to the loud argument outside the tavern.
But this creates a massive mechanical problem in the narrative, and I really want to dig into how the text handles this.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so we, as the audience, just watched Chai hang a bundle of solid silver on the 17th rafter.
Right.
But Prefect Zhang finds a bundle containing a freshly severed human head on that exact same rafter.
Well, in the broader cultural context, Jigong is not just a clever detective. He is recognized as the reincarnation of an arhat, a spiritually enlightened being who possesses abilities like clairvoyance and omniscience.
Got it.
The text heavily implies that Jigong saw the threads of fate. He knew, either through divine foresight or unparalleled deduction, that a murder had occurred, and that the killer had chosen that specific rafter to display the head.
So the entire sequence, the physical comedy with the belt, rejecting the silver, goading Chai into showing off his jumping skills and leaving the money on the roof, was an elaborate, hyper-calculated setup.
Exactly. He was laying a trap.
He knew they needed to get inside the highest levels of the yamen to hunt their real target. But as a ragged monk and two toughs, they couldn't just walk up to the heavily guarded front gates and ask for an audience with the prefect.
No, they would be beaten and turned away instantly.
Precisely. By engineering a scenario where his companion leaves a bundle on the exact rafter where a head is found and then loudly arguing about it in front of the local cops, Jigong hacks the rigid bureaucratic system.
He completely short-circuits it.
He weaponizes the desperation of Lu Chuntai. He turns himself into the prime suspect for a capital offense, guaranteeing that the local police will bypass all protocol and escort him directly into the inner sanctum of the government office.
It is a stunning tactical move.
It's genius. It's like realizing you can't get a meeting with the CEO of a rival company, so you intentionally commit corporate espionage, knowing their security team will drag you directly into the CEO's private office for an interrogation.
That's exactly the dynamic.
But the immediate consequence of this brilliance is that Chai is still furious, and they are still completely broke. Which brings us back to the tavern and the execution of one of the most cold-blooded hustles I have ever seen in literature.
Oh, the tavern meal is incredible. Let's look at the mechanics of the Jigong runs on the local police.
Please do.
So Jigong, Chai, and Du sit down at a table in the tavern. Jigong knows perfectly well that Lu Chuntai and his desperate crew are listening from the back room.
He knows they're eavesdropping.
He intentionally baits the trap. He raises his voice and says to Chai, "You hung the bundle on the 17th rafter. This time you can't get away."
And Chai, who is still nursing a bruised ego and an empty stomach, yells back, "Wasn't it you who ordered me to hang it?"
They're literally serving themselves up on a silver platter.
And Lu Chuntai, hearing his salvation, rushes out, absolutely thrilled. He declares that they have confessed and places them under arrest.
He thinks he just won the lottery.
And here is where Jigong springs the trap. He doesn't resist. He placidly agrees to go to the yamen. But he adds a caveat. He says, "We'll go to court, but we haven't eaten, and we don't have a single copper coin to our names."
Lu Chuntai's psychology in this moment is crucial. He believes he has just secured a 50-tael reward and saved himself from being crippled by bamboo rods.
He's on cloud 9.
He is euphoric. He wants his new prisoners to be happy, docile, and cooperative so they don't cause a scene or try to escape on the walk back to the yamen.
So he makes a fatal financial error.
A massive error. He tells them, "Don't worry about the money. The food is on me. Order whatever you want."
I cannot overstate what a dominant power move this is by Jigong. He knows he holds all the cards. The text notes that they order an absolute feast.
A ridiculous amount of food.
They eat and drink until they are completely engorged, and the final bill comes to 10 taels and 3 mace. Now, let's contextualize that cost. If 50 taels is generational wealth, what does a 10-tael lunch look like?
Well, a single mace is a tenth of a tael. To spend over 10 taels on a single meal in a roadside tavern is an act of staggering gluttony.
Like, what did they even buy?
It implies they didn't just order noodles, you know? They ordered the finest imported wines, whole roasted animals, rare delicacies, and likely treated everyone in the room.
So to put it in modern terms, it would be like a beat cop trying to bribe a suspect with lunch at a diner, and the suspect proceeds to charge $15,000 to the cop's personal credit card.
Exactly. Lu Chuntai pays it, wincing, but justifying it as an investment that will pay out 5-fold when he collects his reward.
So they finish this astronomically expensive free lunch, wipe their mouths, and willingly stroll out with Lu Chuntai.
They're feeling great.
They arrive at the yamen, and Lu Chuntai proudly marches them into the hall, presenting them to the magistrate. He points at Chai and says, "Here is the man who hung the bundle. Ask him about the head."
And this is the moment the floor completely drops out from under the local cops.
Oh, it's so brutal. Chai Yuanli drops the angry sidekick act. He looks at Lu Chuntai with total calm and says, "What head? I don't know anything about a severed head."
Lu Chuntai's reality just shatters. He stammers, referencing the tavern confession.
And Chai calmly clarifies the semantics. He says, "I admitted to hanging a bundle on the 17th rafter, but it was a bundle of my own silver. I was just practicing my martial arts."
It's technically true.
And then Chai delivers the killing blow. He reaches into his robes and pulls out heavy official government warrants. He reveals that he and Du Zhenying are not vagrants. They are official horse-mounted detectives from the capital city of Linen.
The cop-to-cop reality of this scene is just devastating. You can feel the hierarchical crush of the capital cops pulling rank on the provincial cops.
Oh, absolutely. Lu Chuntai realizes he has been completely, utterly played. He didn't crack the case. He isn't getting 50 taels.
He's getting nothing.
He just got scammed out of what is likely a year's salary for a lavish meal by a couple of out-of-town detectives and a monk who likes to wear 4 different shoes.
It is a profound professional and financial humiliation.
So embarrassing.
Chai explains that they are on official state business, dispatched by the highest levels of government Prime Minister Qin and Prefect Zhao of Linen, and they are acting as escorts for the revered holy monk, Jigong.
And that changes everything.
Immediately, when the local authorities hear the name of the Prime Minister and realize who Jigong actually is, the entire power dynamic of the room instantly flips.
So we have established that our bizarre trio aren't murderers. They are elite hunters who used a local murder investigation as a Trojan horse to infiltrate the government.
Right.
But who on earth are they hunting that requires such an elaborate, deceptive entry into a friendly jurisdiction? Why couldn't they just flash their badges at the county line?
That's the real question.
This brings us into the private study of Prefect Zhang, where the tone of our narrative takes a very sharp, very dark turn.
It really does. Prefect Zhang, unlike his street-level cops, is a highly educated man who has spent time in the capital. He has actually met Jigong before.
Oh, so he knows him.
Yes. He recognizes him not as a vagrant in mismatched shoes, but as a highly respected, enlightened figure. He treats him with deep reverence, dismissing the lower officials and inviting Jigong into his private study.
And that's where Jigong finally lays his cards on the table.
Exactly. He explains that they tracked a fugitive into Kwazhou Prefecture. The target's name is Yunlong, and he goes by the theatrical criminal moniker, the Universe-Thieving Mouse.
The Universe-Thieving Mouse, I gotta say, it sounds almost cartoonish, like a comic book villain or something.
It sounds a bit silly to us, sure.
But when Jigong reads out this guy's rap sheet, the whiplash is intense. We go from slapstick comedy dropping coins and scamming free lunches to tracking a highly dangerous, remorseless sociopath.
The escalation of Hua Yunlong's crimes is terrifying, and it really highlights why the capitals sent their absolute best.
Right.
He started as a high-end thief, possessing incredible stealth and martial arts skills. His initial crime was breaking into the heavily fortified residence of Prime Minister Qin in the capital and stealing a pair of priceless jade bracelets and a phoenix crown.
That is a brazen, high-stakes property crime.
Huge. It carries a mandatory death sentence, but it is technically bloodless.
But the profile of the criminal changes drastically once he goes on the run, doesn't it?
Exactly. While fleeing the capital, he committed a murder in a place called Taishan Pavilion. The text uses this to establish that Hua Yunlong has crossed the psychological line from thief to killer.
He's desperate.
Yeah, human life means nothing to him if it stands in his way. But his most horrific crime occurred at the Wuzhu nunnery. He attempted to force himself on a young woman residing there. When she refused his advances, he brutally murdered her.
Oh, wow. That is awful. It fundamentally reframes everything we've seen Jigong do up to this point.
Completely.
We realize that all of the monk's eccentricities, his jokes, his ruthless manipulation of Lu Chuntai, all of it is a highly calculated smokescreen designed to close the net around a violent serial predator who murders innocent women simply because they say no to him.
Right. Hua Yunlong is not a lovable rogue. He is a monster.
And this brings us to the core systemic problem of the narrative. Jigong tells Prefect Zhang that this monster is currently hiding right here in his prefecture.
In his own backyard.
Now, normally, a prefect would simply dispatch his military forces to arrest the fugitive. But Jigong reveals that Hua Yunlong has found sanctuary in the one place in Kwazhou Prefecture where the formal law cannot reach him.
The one blind spot.
He is hiding in the estate of a man named Tian Guobin, nicknamed the Mountain Leopard.
And this introduces the true villain of the social structure, the local mob boss.
When Jigong mentions Tian Guobin, Prefect Zhang's reaction is a chilling look at how systemic corruption actually functions. I want to analyze the mechanics of this corruption. How does a local thug become untouchable by a regional governor?
Well, Prefect Zhang admits that when he first took office, his predecessor specifically warned him about Tian Guobin. Tian is described as a powerful scoundrel.
Sounds like a mafia don.
Exactly. What makes his power so insidious is that Tian has no official government rank. He has not passed the imperial civil service exams. He is technically a commoner.
Okay, so he's legally a nobody.
Right. In the rigid legal hierarchy of the yamen, a commoner should be terrified of the prefect, who has the power of life and death. But the power dynamic is entirely inverted because Tian Guobin possesses something far more potent than a government title.
Connections.
He has absolute power through client-patron networks.
He is relatives with Prime Minister Qin in the capital, and the text provides a terrifying anecdote to illustrate what that connection means practically.
Great detail.
Prefect Zhang admits that the previous prefect, the man who held this supreme authority before him, was transferred out of the region simply because Tian Guobin wanted him gone.
Just like that.
Tian used his familial connection to the prime minister to have a high-ranking, state-appointed official removed from power.
It completely paralyzes the local justice system. It creates a shadow government.
It's incredible.
Prefect Zhang explains that Tian Guobin came to visit him once when he first took office. Because Tian had no official rank, Prefect Zhang stood on formal protocol and refused to receive him.
Oh, big mistake.
Yeah, it was a slight that established a cold war between the yamen and the estate. Zhang mentions that there were reports of armed robbery happening at Tian's estate, but Zhang didn't dare investigate it.
He was too scared.
He couldn't risk sending his men because he didn't know if the robbery was real or if it was a political trap designed by Tian to make the yamen look incompetent and trigger another transfer.
Think about the modern equivalent of this nightmare for a second.
Let's hear it.
Imagine you are the newly appointed chief of police in a major city. There is a local businessman who doesn't hold public office, but you know for an absolute fact that this man can have you fired and your pension revoked with a single phone call to the governor.
It's a terrifying position to be in.
And now an FBI agent walks into your office and tells you that a violent serial killer is hiding in this businessman's guest house. How do you execute an arrest warrant on a property owned by a man who effectively owns your superiors? You can't just authorize a SWAT raid.
You absolutely cannot use standard operating procedures. Jigong articulates this tactical reality perfectly. He warns Prefect Zhang, saying, if you send your officers to arrest him, you will fail.
Because Tian will see them coming.
Exactly. Tian Guobin is vastly wealthy. He operates a massive, sprawling estate with multiple fortified houses, high walls, and private guards. He has informants everywhere in the city.
Eyes everywhere.
Jigong uses a classic tactical idiom. Sending the police will beat the grass and startle the snake.
The mechanics of that idiom are crucial here. If you march 100 armed runners up to the estate, the noise, the dust, and the sheer commotion of the raid will alert the snake, the killer, Yunlong, long before the police reach the front door.
Oh, without a doubt.
He will simply slip out a back exit and vanish into the countryside. And worse, once the killer is gone, Tian Guobin will use his political leverage to utterly destroy Prefect Zhang for daring to assault his home without hard evidence.
So brute force is mathematically guaranteed to fail against this level of entrenched corruption and wealth.
It just won't work.
The formal mechanisms of the law are useless when the criminal is shielded by the law's superiors. You need a completely asymmetric approach.
You need a Trojan horse.
You need a distraction so massive and so perfectly tailored to the mob boss's ego that he willingly opens his doors to the threat.
Which leads us to the climax, the undercover sting operation. Jigong outlines this audacious, multi-layered psychological operation. He tells Prefect Zhang, you are going to go visit Tian Guobin. You are going to take your official palanquin, your heavily armed guards, your gongs, and your banners. You are going to create a massive spectacle of government authority marching right to his doorstep.
The psychological manipulation here is just brilliant.
It really is.
By going to officially visit Tian, Prefect Zhang is breaking the Cold War. He is giving Tian exactly what his fragile ego has demanded since Zhang took office, the public respect and deference of the local government.
He's stroking the guy's ego.
Tian will be so consumed by the politics of this meeting, so focused on the victory of making the prefect come to him, that he will be completely blind to the actual tactical movement happening around him.
And the actual tactical movement is our eccentric monk. Jigong says, while you are keeping him busy at the front door, I will disguise myself as one of your lowly servants. I will infiltrate the house, locate the killer, and extract him from the inside.
It's an incredible plan.
But to pull this off, Jigong has to undergo a major physical transformation. We get a detailed description of his makeover, and the contrast between this disguise and the man with 4 shoes is a profound commentary on society.
It's a huge shift. He requests a standard servant's uniform. They bring him a basin of water, and he washes his face.
Getting all that dirt off.
And the text notes a surprising detail. Underneath the layers of dirt and grime, Jigong actually possesses very handsome, refined features. Right. He hides his iconic ragged monk hat inside his robes. He wraps his head in a black satin cloth, dons a black cloak, and takes off his bizarre assortment of footwear, replacing them with standard, thin-soled black boots worn by yamen attendants.
Okay, I struggle to see how putting on a black satin cloak makes a famous, highly eccentric monk suddenly invisible. Wouldn't the local boss or his guards look at the entourage and immediately recognize the guy who has been causing chaos all over town?
Not when you understand how peripheral vision works in a rigid, hierarchical society.
Okay, explain that.
Earlier in the day, Jigong's bizarre appearance, the mismatched shoes, the ragged robes, made him a massive target. He was highly visible to the law because he defied categorization.
He stood out like a sore thumb.
Exactly. He looked suspicious because he looked different. But now, by putting on the uniform of the state, by dressing exactly like every other generic servant standing behind the prefect's palanquin, he becomes socially invisible.
Ah, I see. It is the ultimate stealth suit, the sociology of invisibility.
It really is.
People don't look at the face. They process the uniform and dismiss the human inside it. As a ragged monk, Jigong is a threat. As a man in a black cloak carrying an umbrella for the prefect, he is basically a piece of furniture.
That's spot on. No one of Tian Guobin's status would ever lower their gaze to study the face of a servant.
He is weaponizing his own low status to bypass a billionaire's security system.
So the trap is set. The description of the grand procession heading toward Tiangubin's estate emphasizes the sheer sensory overload of the distraction.
Oh, it's a massive parade.
Prefect Zhang brings the full theatrical weight of the imperial state. There are runners cracking whips to clear the streets, guards carrying shields, iron chains, and ceremonial sticks.
Just a huge flex.
There are massive flags snapping in the wind, gongs crashing in rhythm, and large ceremonial umbrellas. It is a parade of overwhelming authority marching directly into the mob boss's territory.
And while all this noise and color is moving through the streets, the narrative does something wonderful. It shifts perspective.
We get to see the other side.
Right. It takes us behind enemy lines into the bully's lair. We get to see exactly what is happening inside Tiangubin's house when the ground starts shaking from the approaching procession.
We enter the villain's war room. Tiangobin is lounging in his great hall with his core group of cronies. He has 2 lieutenants, men named Qi Cheng and Yang King, who act as his muscle and advisors. And sitting right there with them, enjoying the protection of the estate, is the man they are hunting. Yunlong, the serial killer.
A servant comes sprinting into the hall and announces that the prefect has arrived with a massive armed escort for an official visit. And Tianwobin's immediate reaction is pure, unfiltered paranoia.
Naturally.
He is arrogant, but he is not an idiot. He knows he is harboring a wanted fugitive with a death sentence, and he remembers that Prefect Zhang explicitly refused to meet with him when he first took office.
He says, wait a minute, he snubbed me before, and now he's showing up unannounced with a small army. This is a trap.
His tactical instincts in that split second are entirely correct. He senses the danger.
But this is where the echo chamber of power becomes his fatal flaw.
Explain that.
His lieutenant, Qi Cheng, steps in and offers a rationalization that is perfectly, surgically tailored to flatter Tian's ego.
Oh, a yes man.
Exactly. Qi says, brother, you don't need to be suspicious. Remember who you are. You are relatives with the prime minister. The prefect has probably finally realized how powerful you are. He realized he made a massive political mistake by snubbing you, and now he is coming here publicly with all his men to apologize and kiss the ring.
It is exactly what Tiangobin wants to hear. He is so accustomed to throwing his political weight around, so used to officials bowing to his connections, that he allows his ego to override his survival instincts.
He wants to believe that the supreme authority in the prefecture is coming to submit to him.
But, just to be safe, he still sets up a tactical ambush before he orders the front doors open.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't completely let his guard down.
And the deployment of this ambush shows exactly how these men operate. I mean, if I'm Tiangubin and I suspect even a 1% chance of a raid, I'm not leaving the serial killer sitting in the front room where the prefect can see him.
No, you have to hide the contraband. Exactly. Tian orders his 2 lieutenants, Qi Cheng and Yang King, to hide in the side rooms flanking the main hall. They're instructed to stay out of sight, heavily armed, ready to spring out and attack if the prefect makes a sudden hostile move.
And as for Yunlong, the murderer,
Tian tells him to go out to the back garden, sit down, and casually drink wine. He tucks the killer safely away, deep inside the labyrinth of the estate, completely insulated from whatever happens at the front door.
the tension built into this specific moment is absolutely incredible. You have this heavily armed, deeply suspicious local boss walking toward his front gate, fully believing he is about to receive an apology from a man he is politically terrified.
He thinks he's winning.
He has his muscle hiding in the wings, ready for a bloodbath. He has a remorseless killer drinking wine in his garden. He thinks he controls every variable on the board.
And he is totally unaware that hidden among the dozens of faceless servants standing quietly behind the prefect's palanquin is a brilliant, eccentric monk who has already manipulated his way across the entire prefecture.
A monk who sees right through Tian's political armor, who understands the layout of the trap, and who is about to walk right past the armed guards and into the lion's den.
We are left right on the threshold of the confrontation. The unstoppable force of Jigong's intellect is about to collide with the immovable object of systemic corruption.